Hey everybody, this is the Vanpowers UrbanCross Pro Class 1 e-bike. Let's take a look at it. So I'm just going to tell you right now that if you're considering an e-bike, I've ridden a lot of e-bikes and this one is one of my favorites. It is a Class 1 e-bike, and the reason I like it so much, first of all, is because you feel like you're riding a bike. It has a top speed of 20 miles an hour. It only has a 250 watt brushless motor, which is small compared to some of the other e-bikes, but that makes you feel like you're riding a bike. And it's plenty of assistance for getting up hills. I live in a very hilly neighborhood and it does just fine going up those hills. If I drop the gear down and pedal a little bit, I go right up the hills. It's Class 1 because it only goes up to 20 miles an hour. It doesn't have a throttle and it stops assisting you when you go over 20 miles an hour. You can ride it faster than 20 miles an hour, but it's only going to assist you up to 20 miles an hour because it is a Class 1 e-bike. But what that means is you have more of a bike riding experience with this than you do with some of the other bigger motors that have throttles. Those are more like riding a moped or a motorcycle. This one feels like you're riding a bike. And what a great bike it is. Look at it, it's just stylish as can be. It doesn't look like other e-bikes. It looks more like a European racing bike or a gravel bike. And part of the reason that is because all of the cables are hidden inside of it. You don't see any external cables except for these brake cables right up here, which go right into the handlebar and go down. I like that. It makes it look very clean. It makes it look very modern, and it makes it look very sleek. And honestly, it doesn't really look like an e-bike. Now, a few things about the components on this. They're all very high quality. The brakes are hydraulic disc brakes. They're Shimano's. The gear is also Shimano. I believe it's 9 speeds, and you can shift just in the rear. The front only has 1 gear, and the back has 9, so you can shift between those different gears while you're riding and get different levels of speed. The shifters are pretty smooth. I don't think they're top of the line Shimano's, but I also don't think they're bottom of the line Shimano's. They're kind of somewhere in the middle. For the price point on this bike, the value you get and what you're getting, I feel like it's an amazing value. It also has a front headlight and a rear tail light, which I don't have on it right now, but those are removable and rechargeable. So they're not integrated into the bike. I like that because you can take them off and recharge them very easily. You could just use this front one as a flashlight, but that's me. I happen to like the lights being removable and not part of the bike itself, just being rechargeable, but they're good quality lights. The other thing that I really like is the screen. The screen on this is small, but it's color, it's very sharp, and it's integrated. A lot of e-bikes have a screen that's put on top of it and just kind of sits connected to the handlebars. Tends to get in the way a little bit, especially if you're taking it in and out of a vehicle. This screen, because it's integrated, is very smooth and really doesn't feel like it's ever going to get in the way. It's easy enough to see what you need to see on it. Unless you're wearing polarized glasses, then it's actually kind of hard to see because I think the screen might be polarized as well. But if you're not wearing polarized glasses, then it's very bright and easy to see. This bike comes in 2 different color schemes. This is the sand yellow color scheme, which I like, very classic. There's also the lava red with black that is a little more of a racing style looking bike. I like that one too, but I have the sand yellow and I think it looks just fine. Again, for as minimal as it is and as clean as it is, this color actually really works well. I mentioned that it's a Class 1 e-bike with pedal assist up to 20 miles an hour. It's also a torque sensor and one of the smoother torque sensor bikes that I've ridden. I've ridden quite a few torque sensor bikes. I do like those better than cadence sensor bikes, and this torque sensor feels very responsive. As you pedal, it's giving you power based on how hard you're pedaling. So you feel like you're riding a bike. I can't emphasize that enough. With a cadence sensor, you start pedaling and it just boosts you up to whatever pedal assist mode you're in. So you could be pedaling really slow and going really fast. On this bike, if you're pedaling slow, you go slow. If you're pedaling fast, you go fast. That's just the way it works. And I really like that about that. Very, very smooth torque sensor. As a matter of fact, one of the best torque sensors I've ridden on an e-bike. So the website for Vanpowers says this bike can go 60 miles on a single charge, which I have not tested. I think you always have to be kind of conservative in that. Don't try to go too far because you could run out of juice, but I've not had any issue with it running out of battery during rides that I've been on, and I've been on plenty of rides with it. The 60 miles is probably under ideal conditions, flat surfaces, no hills, with a rider that probably weighs a bit less than me. I would expect I might get 45, maybe 50 miles out of it, but 60 miles is their advertised distance you can get on one charge. For an e-bike, it is pretty lightweight at about 40 pounds. It is the kind of bike that you can pick up, put into your vehicle, pick up and carry upstairs if you need to. Again, it's an e-bike, so it's a little heavier than a normal bike, but compared to some of the big fat tire e-bikes that I've ridden before, which can weigh 70, 80, 90, 100 pounds, this one is much lighter and more nimble and easier to move around when you have to take it up to your apartment or up to your house or put it in your garage or in your car. And the riding experience on the UrbanCross Pro is amazing. It can ride on paved trails very easily. It can ride off-road pretty easily. I wouldn't take it on hardcore, rocky mountain biking trails, but if it's just gravel or some sort of smooth dirt trail, it'll do just fine on those without any problems. It's nice to have these tires that are a little more grippy than a normal road tire, but not so grippy that they give you a lot of resistance when you're riding on the road. It's a good combination, and I think, again, it qualifies as a gravel bike, so it's kind of designed for a little bit of off-road, but nothing too rough. There's no suspension, so the ride can feel a little bumpy if you're off-road, but when you're riding on pavement, it's smooth as can be, it's super quiet, and again, the torque sensor is so good that as you pedal, you just feel like you're riding a normal bike, but you're Superman. But like any product, there may be a few things you don't like about it, and here are my things that I wish were a little bit different. Number one, it doesn't have a kickstand. That's debatable whether that's a good or a bad thing. Higher end bikes don't tend to have kickstands. Higher end mountain bikes, higher end road bikes don't have kickstands. It saves on weight, but I have gotten used to having kickstands, so that's kind of one of those things where right now I've got it sitting on its pedal on a box, just so it'll stay upright. If you're used to a kickstand, you may have to add one later. Number two, and this is definitely one that I hope Vanpowers will change, I wish it had a quick release on the seat. I know it saves a little bit of weight by not having a quick release and just having to use the tool, but oh, it's so much more of a pain to have to adjust the seat with a tool than it is to just have a quick release. I might even go install a quick release after the fact, put an extra couple of ounces or grams on it. That's okay with me if it's easier to raise and lower the seat. And finally, my biggest gripe about this bike is something that Vanpowers considers a feature, and that is the back wheel locks when the bike is turned off. I don't know if that's something you can change, but what happens is when you turn the bike off, the back wheel locks, and while that's great for security, it's not great for moving it. It means that you either have to turn it on and roll it and then turn it back off, or it means that you have to carry it. I don't know that that's great security because as soon as you turn it on, the wheel starts rolling again, but it does sort of deter someone who might just want to hop on it and take off without knowing how to operate it. But for me, I wish there was a way to bypass that locking back wheel. But other than those couple of small things, I really do love the way this bike rides. I really do like the feel of the bike when you're out on the road, and I like the fact that it doesn't scream e-bike when you're trying to ride along with other people or ride in bike lanes or on bike trails, because a lot of those don't permit e-bikes, especially the Class 2 and Class 3 e-bikes. It being a Class 1 means that it's just a blast to ride on, and you feel like you're riding a regular bike. It comes in 3 different sizes. So this is the large, and it's good for me. I'm about 6'1", 6'2", and 200 and something pounds. So large works for me, but certainly want to check your sizes. I have an affiliate link in the description if you want to check out the full specs and actually buy one of these. It helps the channel if you do that, so I would appreciate it. And believe me when I say this, with all sincerity, this is one you should really consider if you're thinking about getting an e-bike. Let me know what you think about e-bikes in the comments below, and specifically the Vanpowers UrbanCross Pro. I'm a big fan of it, and I definitely think you will be too if you decide to get one.